Lingali tshona njani nithokoza muhle Zimbabwe muhle yikudibana kuhlelo lethu labasakhulayo uhlelo The Connection lilami uMike Hove. What's good Zimbabwe muhle, welcome to The Connection, Studio 7's very own youth program that targets tackling anything and everything youth related. Our program is coming to you from our Studio 7 Voice of America on Tuesday the 14th of July 2020. Muri Zimbabwe ndinomgamchira mchongwa chedu cheve chidiki. I'm your host Mike Hove. Ontanga Zimbabwe muhle, welcome to The Connection, Studio 7's very own youth program that targets tackling anything and everything. Tisathatanga chirongwa muri Zimbabwe tine urombo kuti hatikwanise kupai chirongwa chedu semazuva ose. We apologize muri Zimbabwe, unfortunately we're not able to give you our broadcast live as per usual. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we've had to work from home, meaning this program is a pre-recorded program. It's not live. You cannot join us. Nonetheless, you can always send us your messages on WhatsApp on +1 202 465 0318 as usual. We had already asked some of you guys to send us your voice notes, so we're going to be using some of those voice notes today. Just today, muri Zimbabwe tine urombo I.C.E chirongwa chinoendera mberi chirongwa The Connection muineni Michael Hove. Namhla kuhlelo sikhangela phela udaba lomkhuhlane we-coronavirus tikuendera mberi tichibata nyaya yezvechirwere che-coronavirus, but we're looking to tackle COVID-19, the global pandemic, from all angles. So what does this mean, Mike? This means that Nasi Mchirongwa, we're going to be talking about COVID-19 and how it's affecting youth. We're going to be focusing on the health. We're going to be focusing on the protests that are being proposed for the 31st of July. And of course, we're going to be touching on something big that's happening Lapa Meliga that has left international students up in arms in fear. But first up, coronavirus. According to Johns Hopkins University, over 13 million, 120,000 people have contracted coronavirus worldwide. 570,000 are dead, and over 7,200,000 people have recovered from umkhuhlane we-coronavirus. Now, sikhangela phela lokho kwenzakalayo elizweni, and for those that are going to be watching our video broadcast, you can see what the actual results on our live broadcast page VOA Studio 7. As we speak, there has been over 1,000 cases of umkhuhlane we-coronavirus in Zimbabwe, 19 dead, and 343 recovered. Now, according to the most recent tweet issued by the Ministry of Health, over 91,000 people have been tested for umkhuhlane we-coronavirus in Zimbabwe. 53,755 are RDT tests, and 37,328 are PCR tests. Now, Muri Zimbabwe, last week, President Emmerson Mnangagwa released a statement on his Twitter page whereby he was addressing how Zimbabwe is handling coronavirus. Let's head over to that video that President Emmerson Mnangagwa released on his Twitter page, whereby he's discussing more about how Zimbabwe is handling umkhuhlane we-coronavirus.
I'm pleased to highlight that some of the key interventions that my government is promoting includes the following: protection of frontline staff and workers in general through the provision of adequate protective personal equipment, mandatory social distancing, the wearing of masks, as well as hand washing, protection of critically affected economic sectors through a relief fund. Government rolled out a Zimbabwe $18 billion stimulus package to bring relief to individuals, families, small businesses, and industries with a view of mitigating the effects of COVID-19.
So that was uMongameli Emerson Mnangagwa announcing the khuluma etshela uZulu ukuthi Zimbabwe, how is it handling umkhuhlane lo we-coronavirus. We heard him talking about the stimulus packages that uhulumende is supposed to has released. You heard him talking about air PPE. We're going to be talking to our medical experts who are going to be telling us more about some of the things that President Emerson Mnangagwa touched on. But before we head over to our medical expert, Dr. Tinotenda Memeza, let's head over to the Ministry of Health themselves. The Ministry of Health, a day after Mongameli Emerson Mnangagwa released his statement on Twitter, Labo, they also released a statement which was broadcasted on Facebook, whereby they were talking about how Zimbabwe is handling umkhuhlane lo we-coronavirus. Let's head over to the Ministry of Health and Childcare. Let's hear what Bathini ngalolu daba.
We witness a very worrying trend in terms of increase in the number of cases, but also a different epidemiological trend when we compare to March, when we confirmed our first case on the 20th of March. During that time, we would go up to a maximum of maybe 4 new cases per day, with a number of days where there will be no reported cases. However, as we came to the end of May, it seems there has not been a single day when we have not reported new cases. And again, that trend has really been escalating quite rapidly. If I look at the last 5 days, we have been on average maybe 20-25 cases a day. On 5 July, there was a reported 18 new cases. However, on the 7th of July, that figure jumped to 53. And yesterday, we had 98 new cases added. The trend remains the same, the majority of the cases being imported, particularly now from Republic of South Africa, which itself may be the worst affected country on the African continent right now. And we share a border, the Beitbridge border post with them. Some of the cases are coming from Botswana and some from Europe, particularly the UK and the United States of America, still to a lesser extent Zambia and Mozambique. So having said that, we really need to tighten up our prevention and control measures, even as we also seek to strengthen the case detection and case management capacity. Amid a background of intensified testing, we continue to see more new cases, and that calls for very strengthened capacity in terms of infection prevention and control.
Prevention is better than cure. Prevention is better than cure. You can hear there from Ilunga, the representative of the Ministry of Health last week, where they gave a statement addressing the nation, updating the nation on how Zimbabwe has been impacted by umkhuhlane lo we-coronavirus. Now let's head over to our medical expert, Dr. Tinotenda Memeza, to hear more. He delves on some of these things that were pointed out by the official of the Ministry of Health, whereby he was talking about the spike in COVID cases, PPE issues, and more. Let's head over to Dr. Tinotenda Memeza.
I think we were expecting it, in the sense that we have only recently started to really test a lot of people. And you can see now the private sector is now getting involved a lot. You can see there's now free testing. Maisha right now is running a free testing of COVID, of corona. So we see that because there are now a lot of players involved, yes, the spike it was expected. So like I mentioned last time when I was saying, I think that the trajectory was actually expected to be more in Africa, but we haven't yet reached that stage. So this challenge is maybe is attributed to the testing that is happening, and so people now have access to testing. But I'm sure as the general population sees it, it's a sudden spike, and understandable because of the trend that we've had in the past couple of months, and so I would say it's it's mainly attributed to the increased number of tests that we are doing because of the private sector getting involved.
But now, Dr. Smemez, is an increased amount of cases something that people should be worried about? Because we're continuously seeing the numbers go up, and some people are saying, you know what, it's just we're just testing more people now, so more cases are going to come about. However, some people still feel fear that, you know, with the increase of cases, some are even looking at it as though, you know, now it's shifted from just, oh, it's coming from South Africa to now it's generating within society. Is this something that we should fear?
I think, okay, you may use the term fear or worry, but I'll say this, we should be more cautious. Because we're now seeing that at the community level, it's spreading, and also returnees are also coming in with the corona. So I think it's an opportunity for us to actually be more cautious in terms of how we are going about our business. So if you don't need to go to work, or you can work from home, please do that. If you don't necessarily need to be in a public space, please do that, and always wear a mask. So I think I would say we should actually be more cautious, because now the testing that is being done is now unmasking the already corona patients, corona patients that we're walking around with, not knowing that they have COVID. So we should actually be more cautious than ever.
Right. Now, pane mwenye kati netse from March up until now, PPE. We're seeing frontline workers are now also part of the people who are catching coronavirus. And it's actually quite a lot of people.
Yes.
Has this improved since the first case, Muna March, in terms of PPE provision?
So what I can say is, Chegutang, I think, Ndofana Kuti, just to highlight this, Kuti, kupfeka PPE azvireve kuti hausi chirwere. PPE inobetsera kuti the probability of you getting the disease is reduced. Not necessarily kuti inota kuti munhu asawane chirwere. So whenever frontline workers are working and they're in the front line, whether they have PPE or not, they're actually at risk of getting the coronavirus. As you can see, my countries are very more developed than China and Italy. My doctor our my PPE, but we also saw a lot of deaths despite the PPE. So I think I should just make that disclaimer. And like as usual, availability of PPE is sporadic. It's here and there. It's not to the extent that you want it to be. And it's different for different sections. For those who are working directly with cases that have been said to be positive, of course, the PPE there is better. But also for those who are working in other departments, necessarily corona patients, the PPE is a bit correct. So I think the Nyaya PPE has always been a problem, and it's always needs to be improved.
All right, hold on. Let me translate for our independent listeners, and then we'll continue our conversation, Doc. Lingalitshona njani izulu kandaba wonke umuntu ongenayo kuhlelo ngiyakwamukela kuhlelo lwethu labasakhulayo uhlelo The Connection lilami uMike Hove. Wonke umuntu osanda ukungena kuhlelo okwamanje sisathinta phela udaba lwemkhuhlane we-coronavirus COVID-19. Kuhlelo silo Dr. Tinothenda Simemeza. Vele siyambona uhleze khona kuhlelo lwethu, sithanda ukumbonga. Okokuqala udokotela Tinothenda Simemeza ngimbuzile ngempela ngathi sikhangela phela inombolo zabantu, inani labantu abasebebanjwe ngalomkhuhlane we-coronavirus lilokho liqhubekela phambili lisanda ngempela. Abantu khanya ngani sebesesaba. Ngimbuzile udokotela Tinothenda Simemeza ukuthi abantu kumele basabe nawo, wathi hayi, abantu kumele bengasabi, kodwa kumele babe more cautious. Ngesikhiwa sithi cautious, qaphela. Uthi wonke umuntu kumele akhangele ukuthi mawusuphuma gqoka imask, geza izandla, ungakhohlwi imithetho eyabekwa nguhulumende that goes with uhlelo lwe-lockdown. So uyasho ngempela ukuthi hloniphani umthetho lo, social distancing lingakhohlwi. Ngiphinde ngambuza udokotela Simemeza ukuthi siyabona phela inani labantu abodokotela abasebebanjwe ngalomkhuhlane lilokhe lalo likhuphuka. Wathi yebo ngempela uyazibona kodwa waze wasikhumbuza thina njengabantu njengezizalwane zeZimbabwe ukuthi lingakhohlwi phela ukugqoka i-PPE akusho ukuthi umuntu ngeke abanjwe ngalomkhuhlane we-coronavirus. Umuntu ulakho ukubanjwa ngalomkhuhlane we-coronavirus even ugqoke ama-gloves, ama-mask. It's just ukuthi ma ugqoke ama-gloves njalo i-mask kusho ukuthi i-probability yokuthi uzabanjwa ngalomkhuhlane we-coronavirus is less. So yikho lokho kusanda ukushiwo ngudokotela Thino Thenda Simemeza silaye kuhlelo lwethu labasakhulayo. Dr. Simemeza, now let's continue the conversation here. I've noticed worldwide, not just in Zimbabwe, there's become this new trend of let's check temperatures. And I'm not sure the relationship the temperature has to COVID-19. I know generally they say when you have high temperatures, it's something to be more alert of. But does having a high temperature necessarily mean coronavirus?
Coronavirus, it's also a febrile illness. So by febrile, it's not ever good to kana une coronavirus because of masoja emuviri akurwisana nechirwere, you tend to get elevated body temperatures. So kutesta temperature kunobetsera zvakanyanya because if you have elevated temperatures, zvinoreva izvo you are likely to have the condition. Hazvireva kuti unayo, but it's not out you are likely, the probability is greater for you to actually be positive for the condition. So zvatinoona zvichiitwa kumashopu kana kuti pama-airport kuti munhu wese anenge achiscreenwa achitorwa temperature zvinobetsera chaizvo in terms of identifying the most likely cases that are walking around, handiti. So it's actually an important step in helping to alleviate in terms of this condition. So step inokurudzirwa kuti vanhu vange vachingotestwa temperature yavo kuti vazive kuti zvakamira sei. But tichitaura kudaro kuita temperature yakakwira hazvireve kuti une corona. Inokwanisa iri chimwe chirwere, another febrile illness inokwanisa chichitika. So sometimes, people have fever, flu, even the ordinary flu, and also malaria, and there are many febrile illnesses. But kutora temperature kunongotibetserawo kuscreena vanhu. When there are millions of people, you can actually screen so that you get a smaller sample size.
So now, if we continue the conversation there on the temperature part, I'm asking because I'm also one of the people concerned about that. This is something that's also being implemented. And so I'm more intrigued here to say that yes, kanamuna abuda any temperature that's high doesn't necessarily mean coronavirus. But munakati amuka nasmakseni, or maybe let's say consecutively for 3 days, umuka makseni une high temperature. Does this mean that mun apfana no test for coronavirus?
Yeah, so it's not only temperature. There are a lot of other symptoms that show that you have corona. So symptoms. So these are symptoms at the top, which I can say, only a dry cough, only a sore throat, only elevated body temperatures, and also difficulty in breathing, only shortness of breath, which itadza kufema zvakanaka. Those zvinoita kuti uite se ufane kutorwa ufane kutestwa checorona. But if also, just to add on, kana temperature yako iri kuramba yakakwira, zvinotokurudzirwa kuti utarise kuti hauna chirwere, so that we rule out corona. Kurapa zvimwe kana zviripo.
All right, now let's delve into how COVID itself has affected the Zimbabwean medical system in a whole. I remember the last time we spoke about the nurses protesting and so forth, and one thing you highlighted is the medical system in Zimbabwe has been dilapidating for a very long time. Our resources are very limited, and we're trying to tackle coronavirus. But now, I've had conversations with other medical personnel that are saying, it's a good thing that we're fighting coronavirus, but now we're abandoning other diseases. Hence why, for example, malaria ikambonetsa, cholera ikambonetsa, other diseases are now, being problematic in Zimbabwe. How is COVID-19 affecting the medical system in Zimbabwe?
I think COVID-19 has actually been a burden to our system, to an already system that is struggling. And as you can see, mahospitals edu anowanzoona vanhu vakati wandei vanorifewa kunzvimbo dzakasiyana siyana, macentral hospitals amwe are now divided now into a corona section and into a non-covid section, zvichireva izvo kuti vamwe vanhu vanga vachange vachibetserwa muma-sections akadivhaidwa iwawo kuti aone vanhu vecorona havachakwanise kubetserwa. So tinoreva kuti izvo system yedu is now overloaded. And yes, so corona has actually been a burden in summary in terms of how we are working, but also the point yawataura yekuti izvo saka zvimwe zvirwere zvinenge zvichibetsereka zvakanaka here. Pane study yakaitwa nevakuru vemuno muZimbabwe yairatidza kuti nenyaya yeburden yecorona or the attention towards COVID-19 patients, we will likely see deaths due to other causes, because now we are no longer paying attention to those.
Okay, hold on. You had cut off for a hot second. I might need you to repeat what you're saying.
All right. Ndakandichiti nizvo pane study yakaitwa nevakuru vedu vana mazvikokota machiremba vachiti izvo corona might mamwe conditions might actually be more deadly during this time ye-COVID-19 because hatisi kunyanyo we are paying attention to corona more than the other conditions. So we might actually see a rise in terms of people dying because of other conditions. So in summary, I can say this, that corona has actually been a burden because now the hospitals are divided. Now resources are being shifted towards corona that can be used to other to other people. My ventilators are now being reserved for corona patients, which can be used for other patients who need ventilation without necessarily having corona. So yes, it has been a burden, and hopefully it will get better.
All right, hold on for 1 second. Yembo gambe zulugandaba wonke umuntu ongenayo kuhlelo ngiyakwamukela kuhlelo okwamanje kuhlelo The Connection lelami uMike Hove sikhuluma lo dokotela Thinothenda Simemeza malana ngalo umkhuhlane we-coronavirus. Early on sike sathinta phela indaba ezijiyeneyo ezimayelana ngalokho okwenzakalayo elizweni that pertains to umkhuhlane lo we-coronavirus. Ngimbuzile uDr. Thinothenda Simemeza ukuthi siyabona phela abantu abaningi not just eZimbabwe kuphela kodwa emhlabeni wonke jikelele sebenza lokho ukuthi bayatesta i-temperature yomzimba womuntu ukuthi nxa umuntu echiselwa and you feel like i-temperature yakho is too high bayakutshela ukuthi maybe ungabuyi emsebenzini or ungaphumi ekhaya hlala endlini. So ngimbuzile ngempela udokotela Simemeza ukuthi lokhu ukutesta lokhu of i-temperature yomzimba yomuntu kuyinto eqhakathekileyo ngempela na yena wathi hey ngempela kuyinto eqhakathekileyo kakhulu ngenxa yokuthi umuntu if let's say consecutively for a couple of days umuntu uyazibona esechiselwa ngumzimba kulethuba hayi ukuthi sokusho ukuthi usubanjwe ngalomkhuhlane we-coronavirus cha kodwa kusho ukuthi kulethuba lokuthi hayi maybe usubanjwe ngalomkhuhlane. So abantu bayazibona ukuthi nxa i-temperature yomzimba wakho is too high consecutively for a lot of days uyakhuthaza abantu ukuthi hayi maybe sekuyisikhathi sokuthi uyohlolwa ubone ukuthi usubanjwe yini ngalomkhuhlane we-coronavirus. Angiphinde ngambuza udokotela ukuthi ngale ndaba yama-resources elizweni siyabona phela ukuthi since kwaqala umkhuhlane lo we-coronavirus elizweni kwele Zimbabwe ngoMarch kusiyafika namuhla everything elizweni has now to do nalo mkhuhlane we-coronavirus, even esibhedlela. So ngimbuzile ngathi njengoba ilizwe lilokhe lisithi uhulumende ulokhe esithi akalamali and is working on esingathi ngesingisi ama-limited resources. Lokhu sokusho ukuthini ngenxa sesibona abantu are now dying ngemikhuhlane echiyeneyo, abo cholera, abo malaria, abantu abaningi liyakhumbula phela eMatabeleland bafelwa yisihlobo because of malaria. So ngimbuzile ngathi i-coronavirus le, how has it distracted indlela esiphatha ngayo abantu abagulayo, izigulane eZimbabwe? Wathi ngempela it's now affected indlela abantu abodokotela basebenza eZimbabwe. Let's talk a little about the lockdown period itself. We're still in lockdown in the country. Nothing has changed except it's a little more relaxed. But technically speaking, according to law, we're still on this indefinite period of the lockdown. However, during this lockdown that the numbers have skyrocketed, one. Two, it is during this lockdown that a lot of changes have occurred since the beginning of March up until today. Do you think this lockdown needs reviewing, and what changes need to be implemented, if any?
To be honest, I think the lockdown is still on paper, is now mostly on paper rather than in practical. There's now a lot of movements, a lot of public places have opened, and there are even traffic jams nowadays. So, so I think more people are now in the public spaces. Of course, on paper, we're still reviewing it and so forth, but sort of like the economy is sort of like resuscitated for now. And I think we need, if you look at South Africa yesterday, was it yesterday when President Ramaphosa reinitiated aspects of the lockdown because of the spike in the number of cases in Johannesburg. So I think we should actually enforce it more in terms of in practical, how we are doing it on the ground, so that people are not congested, the markets are not flooded, and people are not having house parties and so forth. So I think we need to review it so that we don't end up in a crisis that we can't control. If we can prevent, let us prevent. That's the motto. Let's prevent rather than look for the cure.
All right, folks, you heard it there from Dr. Tinotenda Smemeza. He's a medical practitioner. He was saying his thoughts on what's happening in the country COVID related. Early on, I mentioned Uguti, we reached out to some of you guys via WhatsApp to send us your thoughts on what's happening in the country COVID related. So let's head over to some of those guys. Let's hear what they had to say.
Mina igama ngugabadela Ncube. Mina engakusho bantu bakithi ukuthi asizivikeleni kakhulu njengakhonokho abakutshoyo, kodwa mbuye ngisole udokotela okuthiwa nguSolwayo Ngwenya kabe kwazi ukukhuluma labantu, mayekhuluma engathi abantu baphithizela lo mkhuhlane bawuthola ngoba bephithizela uhlale batshela ukuthi begqoka ama-mask, social distancing, wathi kakhulume kahle, engayenzi ngani kuthiwa bonke abantu ababanjwa kulowo mkhuhlane ukuthi babe bengagqokanga ama-mask, ngoba nango lo Trump la akakaze ayigqoke i-mask, but nangu yana ukhona abanye laba ababambayo sikuthi bayizithutha. Nasempilo khonapha amanesi lama-doctors aseke babanjwa yiyo asikuthi bayizithutha. So sicela ukuthi ebekwazi ukukhuluma lo baba lo.
Sithangibonga umlaleli ongenayo kuhlelo Tinotenda Zvikhurusa nemaundo enyu. Muri eZimbabwe, 30 minutes into the program, chirongwa The Connection moineni Mike Hove. Tine urombo kuti hatikwanise kukupinza muchirongwa semazuva ose zvisinei tiri pano pachirongwa chedu chevechidiki. uhlelo The Connection muyineni microwave. For those looking to give us their input, lingakhohlwi lapho usithumezela umlayezelo WhatsApp kunombolo ethi +1 202 465 0318. Makathirira chirongwa chedu cheve iki uhlelo The Connection. VOA Africa in Zimbabwe has moved to a new satellite. Listeners can now find us on SES 5 band and C band transponders. Continue counting on us for the latest news, music, sports, and more. Now with a better signal and a better sound. VOA Africa in Zimbabwe, your best source for news and information. All right, you heard it there, folks. You can catch us on these new frequencies per satellite. Chirongwa The Connection, Moyineni Microwave. Earlier on, I mentioned Uguti Namsha Gushelo, we're going to be tackling COVID from all angles. Now let's head over to the second segment of Ushelo Letu Labasa Kulayo. Apo Chukubata Nyaeje, my planned protest MSWA 31 July. Now, I'm sure over time you've been paying attention to some of the programs, but just for those who have just joined us, and I'm not sure, would say what exactly is going on Shaga 31. Opposition leaders, civic society leaders, and some youth-led organizations are all planning to take to the streets of Zimbabwe Shaga 31 July as they protest. Abatabanga, they're not happy with everything that's happening in the country. When they look at the economy, a lot of things are going bad. So they're not happy. They want to express their displeasure with everything that's going on. But now ZANU-PF, youth ZANU-PF, senior officials are all saying, Zimbabwe, do not forget that on the 31st, the nation is still going to be under lockdown. And so going out to protest would be in violation of the lockdown rules, and the police and the military are going to ensure that citizens all stand by this lockdown period. So let's head over to one of the youth that we spoke to, Mabuto Moyo, a ZANU-PF youth member.
You know, uhulumende lo khona uhulumende ovotele ngo-2018 and ukhetho olandelalo ngo-2023. So phakathi ka-2018 no-2023 akukho kunye vele ukuzenzakala ukuzatshintsha uhulumende. Uhulumende ukhona, uhulumende wakhethwa ngabantu.
Kodwa Mabutho kulabanye abathi bona nxa sebephuma ngobuningi babo it's not ukuthi bafisa ukukhipha uhulumende, bafisa ukuthi uhulumende abone ukuthi bona njengabantu njengezizalwane zeZimbabwe babhekane ngendubeko eziningi and bafuna ukuthi kube lo inguquko kube le ntshintsho, hayi ukuthi bafisa ukukhipha uhulumende kamongameli emaselo mnankakho. Ungathi ngalokho
okukhona baba njengoba sisho ukuthi ngilungelo labo abakwenze, kodwa abakwenze kulokuthula. Abakwenze bengabhidlisi amabhizimusi abantu, abakwenze bengatshisi izitolo zabantu, abakwenze njalo uhambelana lemithetho yelizwe, ngoba kade sikhayelane lo mkhuhlane wecorona. Ukumemetheka kwalo mkhuhlane vele kwenzakala nxa abantu bebuthene beyiziqhumo. So nxa uhulumende ethe kule lockdown ngalelo langa kuzamele behloniphe ukuthi kule lockdown abayenze izinto ezihambelana lo mthetho weZimbabwe kuphela.
All right, you just heard it there, folks, from ZANU-PF youth member Mabuto Moyo, who was basically saying, by all means, Mabuto says, please, by all means, Muria Zimbabwe, it is your constitutional right to go out there and protest. However, do not forget that MSWA 31, Nika Yose, will still be under this program that we're calling the lockdown period, whereby the nation itself is fighting umkhuhlane with coronavirus. So this lockdown period is encouraging people to stay at home to ensure that coronavirus does not spread in the country. So Mabuto Moyo is saying, Muria Zimbabwe, of course, Msaka Wongu se ZANU-PF uyeje hurumende inonyatsonzwisisa kuti hongu bumbiro remutemo rinobvumidza vanhu kuti vabude neuwandu hwavo vachiratidzira it's your constitutional right to go out and protest. Hanzi musi wa31 muri yeZimbabwe, Zimbabwe is still going to be under this lockdown period, and they must remember that if you go out in your numbers, you are going to be in violation of the lockdown period. And as I mentioned earlier on, Mabuto highlights that the military themselves are going to be up in arms to ensure that people abide by the rules of the lockdown period. Let's head over to another youth that we spoke to, Umnumzana Uchingani Shoko. Uchingani Shoko is a youth member of ZINASU, the Zimbabwe National Students Union. They're also going to be partaking in these protests. So let's hear what Uchingani has to say about these protests planned for Mhlaka 31.
I-lockdown ungananzelela ukuthi i-government yethu eZimbabwe nxa ikhuluma nge-lockdown ithi yona i-lockdown is meant to benefit ama-citizens, but ungakunanzelela lesisa kahle kahle i-lockdown we have seen ama-decisions being made by the government. During i-lockdown, we have seen key political decisions being made by the government during i-lockdown. So yona i-government nxa isithi abantu ngeke betshengisele ngenxa ye-lockdown, so is the government trying to tell us ukuthi bona yibo bodwa abavunyezwa ukwenza ama-decisions ngesikhathi se-lockdown? So you notice ukuthi vele into yonke ethiwa yi-lockdown kahle kahle it's working to the advantage of government and ZANU-PF. So nxa ukutshengisela kulilungelo labantu kuvela ku-constitution, basically we are saying people should go and demonstrate. We may have noticed ukuthi endaweni ezinjenge-United States, Malawi and Mali as we speak abantu bayatshengisela. So thina singamelela ukuthi i-COVID iphele, which means ilizwe liyachabalala abantu betshontsha, njalo ilungelo labantu lokuthi betshengisele nxa kusenza kabahambe abantu beyotshengisela.
Ngombono wakho kukhona na okulakho ukuphumelela kulomkhankaso okujonge ukuthuthukisa intsha yakwele Zimbabwe?
As for ama-youth kumbe esingathi intsha yeZimbabwe, sizananzelela ukuthi bona abayenza ngokwenombolo bathi 75% of this population ingama-youth kumbe intsha. So sibona ukuthi kungatshengiselwa kumbe kungademonstratwa ama-youth they are the most affected, and sizananzelela ukuthi kungatshengiselwa intsha yakathesi ingakwanisa ukuthi ibe yona engathola amathuba angcono, ibe yona engathola maybe ukufunda okungcono. Sizananzelela ukuthi izikolo, izibhedlela, lemisebenzi, konke lokhu ku-affecta intsha yakathesi, njalo sizananzelela ukuthi yonke into eyenzakalayo ibuyela back to ama-youth and they are affected. So I think it's very important ukuthi ukutshengisela lokhu kube strategic and kube lempumela engcono ngani, ngoba sibona ukuthi ama-youth yibo abantu aba-more affected with this economy.
Umbuzo wami wokugcina Shoko, ubona ngani ukutshengisela kuyasiza na kwele Zimbabwe? Ngoba siyabona lokho akusilona ukuqala abantu bephuma ngobuningi babo besiyotshengisela, kodwa akukaphumi lutho. Eningi labantu balokho beqhubekela phambili bekhala besithi isimo somnotho silokho esiqhubekela phambili sigugudeka.
I think kuyasiza ukutshengisela ngoba abantu bayathola ithuba lokuthi be-exercise amalungelo abo, njalo abantu kumele bebe organized, because ukuze into iphumelele we are saying how many people are of the idea, and abantu bayakwazi ukuthi lilungelo labo ukuthi betshengisele. So we have seen even in the United States where we have better run economies, people demonstrate. So thina we are saying abantu nxa bekwazi ilungelo labo, abantu nxa bekwazi ukuthi bona bafuna ukuthi kube lempumela yani exactly ekutshengiseleni, I think kuyasiza. Njalo bona abaphambi ngokutshengisela ama-political players, they should be able to at least bevumeze abantu ukuthi bebe lethuba lokuba kwazi ukuthi ukutshengisela lilungelo labo.
All right, Umnumzana Uchingani Shoko owenhlanganiso eZINASU. He was highlighting there maundro ake uyezwe maundro esangano reZINASU vachithi aiwa zviri kutaurwa izvi nesangano reZANU-PF hanzi ivo sesangano they don't agree with what ZANU-PF is saying. They are highlighting that, you know what, if anything, the government has made very key political decisions throughout this time whereby the nation was on lockdown, and so they feel as though it's very unfortunate, or it's quite coincidental that government is to turn around and use COVID as something to say that people cannot go out and protest. If anything, Zinasu is urging people, they're saying, you know what, respect the rules of the lockdown, respect the rules of the social distancing, but it is still your constitutional right to go out and protest. Let's hear what the listeners have to say about the protest.
Salibonani Studio 7, igama lami nguSibusiso. Indaba yokutshengisela iqondile kulabo abakubonayo ubona mhlambe asebehlupheka manje. Thina asikubona ukuthi ukutshengisela ngendaba yomnotho kuyindlela okumele abantu beqale ngayo. Abantu kumele bebanjaniswe okokuqala kube neqiniso ngoba amabandla wonke la ayatshengisela thina asiwabona umsebenzi abasenzela wona singabantu basemathebhelelendi. Okungangokuthi ngabe kuqala kukhulunywe ngendaba yokuhlukumezeka kwabantu bamathebhelelendi kuze kube ogogorawundi kuze kube ukuthi abantu besemathebhelelendi umhlaba wethu siyawuthathelwa sezwa yonke leyo nto. Ngoba kumanje mina ngokubuka kwami noma singatshengisela mhlawumbe sithi sifuna ukukhipha iZANU-PF embusweni kodwa still thina vele igephu yethu isasekhona futhi angeke iphele njalo lamabandla la aseharara amaningi. Angikaze ngiwezwe mhlawumbe efike ekhuluma ngendaba yokuthi thina esikhala ngayo ukuthi bazosisiza njani uma bengangena embusweni.
Maonero angu nepfungwa dzangu inini kuratidzira hakuna kuipa nokuti iyo hurumende yacho iyoyo haina kumbogara yakoshesa kupararira kwechirwere kecoronavirus. Sei ndadaro? 1 yakapa mutongo pakati pebato ramaitwa kuzanikupe nebato rapurezidendi vakasarudzwa nevanhu advocate Nelson Chamisa. Saka tinotoiti corona judgment dai vaikoshesa kuparara kwechirwere checoronavirus vangadai vakagara vasina kutombobvira vapa mutongo iwoyo nguva ino, vangadai vakamirira kunzi kwakachena because pachivanhu chedu tinoti musha mutema, asi ivo vakakoshesa kuita chipini mumusha mutema. Saka kuratidzira kwemapato anopikisa kwevechidiki nevechi ikodzero yavo nokuti hurumende ndo yakatiratidza kuti corona haina basa munyika ino yeZimbabwe.
You hearing there abalaleli bayasho ngempela umo pane mzvari wambopinda uchirongwa vakanyatso taura mbotauroka nachingani shoko where she was saying ukuthi government itself passed some very key political decisions throughout this time whereby the nation is under lockdown. And so they cannot, according to their opinion, they cannot now turn around and start using the lockdown as an understanding as to why people cannot take to the streets of Zimbabwe. Now, let's head over to our constitutional lawyer. Of course, we need a constitutional lawyer to give us input of whether or not this can happen. What does it mean? Is it possible for people to go out and protest on the 31st under the lockdown? And of course, how do they go about doing that? Let's head over to Paida Saurombe, a lawyer under Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, who breaks all this down for us.
Ndrotena mkoma Mike, takatarisa mitemo ye-lockdown, nyanya mtemo Statutory Instrument 83 of 2020. Statutory Instrument 83 of 2020 inorambidza iyo kuti vanhu vaungane vari mumapoka anopfuura ivo 50. Saka takatarisa mukati memutemo iyoyo mukapfurikidza nhamba iyoyo mukataurirwa imimi kuti mubve panhamba iyoyo mukasabva, mapurisa ane kodzero yokusunga vanonga vachityora mutemo uyu. Mutemo uyu uchiri effective mukati menyika yedu. Asi takatarisa kuti vari kuda kuita ratidziro dzavo, kana vachinge vachiita ratidziro idzi mukati memaconfines emutemo iripo yekudzivirira denda, handioni paine chinofanira kuti chivadzivise kuti varatidzire sezvo iri kodzero yavo inopiwa neconstitution. Chisingazodikanwi kuti kutaridzira uku kunge kuchityorawo mimwe mitemo iripo iri mukati menyika yakaisirwa iyo kuti ibatsire veruzhinji. Asiwo zvakare takatarisa the other side of the coin as well, mitemo iri kuiswa yekudzivirira denda haifaniri kunga iyo ichishandiswa in an arbitrary way yekuti ishandiswe kuti idzivirire kodzero dzevanhu. Saka mitemo iyi ngaiiswe nenzira dzinokwanisa kuti denda risaenderere mberi, at the same time kodzero dzevanhu dzichirespectwa, asiwo vanhu vasingatyori zvakare mitemo.
Eva Saurombe, kune vanhu vane maondero ekuti mukurambidza vanhu kuti vasandoratidzira musi wa31 hurumende iri kutoremekedza bumbiro remutemo nekuti munhu wese ane kodzero yekurarama, nechirungu tinoti right to life. Asi tikatarisa kune rimwe divi, kune vamwe vane maondero ekuti kuratidzira ikodzero yavo sechizvarwa cheZimbabwe. Sezvo vanhu ava vane maondero akasiyana, nyaya iyi inogadziriswa sei?
Ndinotenda nemubvunzo wenyu mukoma Mike. Sekutaura kwandandiri kuita kwekuti panoda kuti paitwe iyo bhalansi inokwanisa kuitwa pamusoro pekuratidzira uye pamusoro pekuchengetedza upenyu. Vanhu vari kufanira kuti vachengetedze upenyu. Vanhu vachinge vachengetedza upenyu, mune rimwewo divi hurumende iri kufanira kunge ichipromota kodzero dzavanhu. Saka mukati mekuita zvinhu izvi pari kufanira kukiretwa iyo bhalansi. Ndosaka mutemo uri kutaura iwo kuti hapafaniri kuungana vanhu vanopfuura 50, panofanira ipo kuobzevhwa social distancing. Saka handisina hangu ruzivo rwokuti vari kuronga kuratidzira vari kuronga kuzviita sei, asi mitemo iri kufanira kuti ichengetedzwe. Kodzerewo zvakare sekutaura kwandaita dzichichengetedzwa mukati menyika. Kodzero yekuratidzira iriko hongu, asi kodzero iyi ngaiitwe iri iyo mukati memitemo yedu inoti gavhena. Kuda kana kusaida imwe mitemo yedu yatiinayo, iripo mitemo iyoyo. As long as isati yachallenjwa kana isati yabviswa, inofanira kuti mitemo iyoyo ichengetedzwe. Saka pane vari kuronga kuratidzira, ngavaronge kuratidzira vari mukati mekuchengetedza mitemo yenyika. Asi takatarisa kunyanya denda rashura matongo kuti mitemo ngaichengetedzwe.
All right, that is Paida Saurombe Mure Zimbabwe mabvakunzwa kuna vaPaida Saurombe Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights vanga vachipaka maondro avo pamusoro pezvekuratidzira kuri kurongwa nevemapato anopikisa uyezve mapato masangano anotungamirwa nevechidiki vanotarisa nyaya dzekurwira kodzero dzevanhu. That was Paida Saurombe, a lawyer under Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, who was basically breaking down his opinion as to whether or not it is possible for people to go out in their masses and protest on the 31st. Basically, Paida Saurombe says, you know what, it's possible, but people need to understand that there's the lockdown law, which is, based on the Constitution itself and is in full force. And so people must remember, the law itself says people cannot gather at more than 50 people at a time. And so if you're going out in your masses, make sure that you respect that law, not more than 50 people, fekaima mask, and so forth. That was Paida Saurombe. Let's head over to Abalaleli Betu. Sizubuti, what do the listeners have to say about, the protest of 31 July?
Sanibonani, besakazi bestudio 7. Mayelana ngokutshengisela kwelokhu kwenhlanganiso ezitshiyeneyo ekhaya eZimbabwe, ngibona kuyinto enhle kakhulu. Ma zingasukuma zonke inhlanganiso ezikhona eZimbabwe ezilwele ukuhlupheka eziphezu kwakho, ezihluphekiswa yibandla elibusayo, kungaba yinto enhle kakhulu. Belisukume bonke bengena emgwaqweni bethi no, asivumelani lakho lokhu. Sicela i-corruption ikiphele elizweni ne-ZANU-PF ikime kancane, ngoba hayi abantu sebethwele nzima kakhulu.
Salibonani basakazi bastudio 7. Hayi, nanyaphila. Hayi, kuhle sibili ukuthi abantu bedemonstrate bonke abantu, kungakhethi noma ingane enganani, ngoba sikhathele ngalombuso. Umbuso lo ufana lesinye isihlahla esasisibiza sithi isona, ngesindebele sithi isona. Singamile emasimini, amabele ayafa wonke. IZANU iyisona elizweni, iyabulala umnotho wonke, suphelwa tinya. Into engiyifisa, bengifisa ukuthi lolo suku uma lufika, bengifisa ukuthi ngawutha wonke amazwe alabantu beZimbabwe, wonke abantu beZimbabwe abalakulawo mazwe, sizile baphathe amabhakani athi izani bayihambe.
Hayi liyabezwa abalaleli bayazikhulumela Zulu kandaba makatshera chirongwa chedu cheve chidiki uhlelo The Connection pasara 10 minutes muri Zimbabwe tasvika tave kusvika kumagumo echirongwa chedu cheve chidiki. So muri Zimbabwe nhasi muchirongwa tiri kubata nyaya yezvechirwere checoronavirus. We've been tackling umkhuhlanelo wecoronavirus. We touched on the numbers, we touched on the 31st protests, and of course we're about to wrap up our program by touching on what's happening lapha kwele Melika. Makatshera chirongwa chedu cheve chidiki uhlelo The Connection lelami uMike Hove. Umsakazo we-Voice of America osakaza kuzwekazi le-Afrika okugoqela ele-Zimbabwe ususebenzisa i-satellite SES-5 ku-band le-C-band. Nxa lifisa ukuba kwazi okuningi ngalokhu, ngenani ebulenjini be-internet, livule ikhasi le-VOA Ndebele elithi www.voandebele.com. Okunye uza kuthola ebulenjini bokuxhumana obe-Facebook ku-VOA Ndebele laku-Twitter ku-VOA Ndebele. Saqhubekela phambili silethulela indaba ezilohlonzi ngendlela eziphakeme. Chirongwa The Connection, mwineni wenyu Mike Hove. Muri Zimbabwe, now in our last segment, we're going to be touching on what's happening lapha kwele Melika. For those that do not know, recently here in America, there was a law that was passed that is very problematic for international students here in the United States of America. Now, a lot of colleges had agreed in March that they're going to be taking this through their studies online for quite the duration of their studies for the rest of the year. But now, recently, the American government, or ICE itself, the Immigration Department, decided for those that are going to be taking their studies online, if you're an international student, local, so it's not legal. So we should see you have two options. The first option itself is that you either go back to your country, or the second option itself is that you transfer your credits to an institution that allows in-person studies. Now, this is something that has left international students in fear because a lot of them don't really understand so let's head over to the former student president of Carleton College, Anesu Masakura, who basically breaks down this law and explains what it means for them as international students.
My heart really breaks for the current international students and the new class that is coming to the United States this fall, because there's a lot of uncertainty about what's going on and what this means for them. So I've been talking to international students that are in India and are saying that they are on a travel ban, right? And they don't know if they can come to the States come fall. So this added directive, causes a lot of stress and uncertainty on their part. But what I think that this is needlessly cruel and reckless and politically motivated, and it's just the Trump administration arm twisting colleges and universities into reopening in the fall. And it's so unfortunate that international students are caught in the middle of this mess. And you can't look at this in isolation. Just a few weeks ago, the Trump administration also suspended HB1 visas for foreign workers in the United States. So this is another way of curtailing immigration into the United States. And I think that's unnecessary. It's xenophobic, and it puts the health and safety of international students at risk.
But now, Anis, in the same breath, someone who I guess is part of the administration or who is in favor of the moves that are being made by the administration could argue that the administration itself, I was reading one of the statements issued by the immigration's ICE, and
Right.
they were saying that students, international students in the United States of America right now have two options. Your first option is if your school is adamant on staying online, you either go back home or you can transfer to an institution that is allowing students to go into class to study.
Right.
How do you balance something like that? Because for them, they're arguing that, hey, we're not necessarily kicking you out. We're just saying that you need to go to school.
Right. I don't think that there are two options in this case. There's only one option, which is going back to your country. And that's the intended effect, or that's the goal of this directive. So, I mean, transferring schools, takes months, so at this, time of the year, it's really difficult for international students to find a new place where they can finish their undergraduate studies. And there is no guarantee that that new place is going to offer them financial aid, since most of them are here on financial aid. And there is no guarantee that the quality of education is going to be the same at this new college. And again, there is no guarantee that they're going to find that place in the first instance. So I don't think that's an option at all, transferring schools. The only option here is that you have to go back to your country, in the middle of a pandemic. And as I said earlier, that's just cruel and needlessly stringent. In March, they said that you could stay, in the United States, if even if your college is offering classes online, because they acknowledged that the pandemic posed significant challenges and health risks for everybody. But now they are changing course because the elections are coming up soon, and they don't want to be seen as incompetent or as not having managed the crisis well. So again, it's politically motivated, in my opinion, and international students just happen to be caught in the middle of that.
Now, Anu, so how does the move itself affect the studies of international students?
Right, right. So Harvard and MIT have already filed a suit against ICE, saying that this directive can't stand. They are saying that it should be temporarily lifted so that international students can continue to learn online as originally planned. Other colleges like mine that haven't joined the suit have also released their plans for the fall semester, saying that they're going to allow a certain percentage of the student population to come back to campus, with priority being placed on international students, of course. So they're adopting the hybrid option, whereby students can take other classes online and some classes in person, so that they can maintain their status in the United States. Now, as to the consequences or the effects of that policy on the performance of international students, I think it goes unsaid that such kind of uncertainty definitely affects your academic performance negatively. And as a result, it affects your job prospects post college and your graduate school prospects. After college, because without a good GPA, you can't really do anything, especially as an international student. So dealing with that kind of uncertainty during this time is very stressful, and it places a huge strain on the mental health of many international students. And it has been such a case for me personally, even though I'm not immediately affected by this new directive from ICE.
Now, let's talk. I was reading a little, and I'm glad that you were the former president, because you can speak to this. A lot of institutions seem to be up in arms because international students contribute a huge chunk towards
Right.
the budget of how higher education systems
Yes.
are working within America. How would
Yeah.
something like this affect how institutions function on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. I think, this order has caused a lot of headaches for colleges, And I mean, the pandemic in general has been such a huge headache for them because, it's hemorrhaging the much needed funds from their coffers, right? I know that, during the spring term, when I was still at Carlton, students were studying from home, which means they weren't paying tuition or on room and board by not staying on campus, right? That's millions of dollars lost. Our colleges also are losing money in assistance to students that were disproportionately affected by this pandemic. So of course it's been such a huge headache for them. But back to what you were saying about international students contributing a lot to the American economy, I usually refrain from making that argument because it commodifies them, right? It
Right.
says that your value to us is that you contribute this much to the American economy. But there's so much that you contribute besides the money, right? You contribute to the vibrancy of campus. We contribute, to cultural exchange. We contribute ideas. We contribute, in terms of innovation and technology advancement. So it's not just, the millions and billions of dollars that we contribute to the local economy through the tuitions that we pay. So I usually refrain from making that argument, because at the same time, it also feeds into this narrative about the good immigrant, this standard that's been set, that to be a good immigrant in the United States, these are the things that you have to subscribe to, or these are the things that you have to be, which means that Mexicans that are illegally coming to the United States aren't good immigrants according to that logic. So I refrain from making that argument. But again, yes, we do contribute a lot to the American economy, and if this order stands, then colleges are going to lose a lot of money from that. Some students may not be able to come at all, as a result of this uncertainty. They may end up going to the UK or to Canada, where such a policy doesn't exist. So I think that Harvard and MIT and other colleges that have filed this suit against I.C.E have an incentive to do so, because it's in their financial or monetary interest to do so.
Now, my last question to you is about the rights of international students.
Yeah.
If, hypothetically speaking, there is a student who is caught up in this whole mess and is ordered to either A, leave the country, or B, transfer, which you have said is almost next to impossible.
Yeah.
Do students have a leg to stand on? Is there any legal course that they can take to stay in the country?
I don't think they do. I don't think they have a leg to stand on. There's really no option here. We're being forced to choose deportation or putting our health and safety at risk. So I that's why I've been leveraging my social media presence and my connections at Carleton College, where you rightly said I was the student body president, to say, what, we need you to stand by your international students, given how much we contribute, to campus life and to your coffers, in terms of money. We need you to challenge this policy, this directive in court, so that it doesn't stand, and we get to learn online as originally intended. That's the only legal recourse that I see in this instance. So that's why I've been calling on fellow international students to call on their colleges to say, join Harvard and MIT, file amicus briefs to support their suit against I.C.E, so that this policy is suspended. But other than that, I don't see us having a leg to stand on. That's just the unfortunate side of being, an international student in the United States. You don't even have, freedom of speech, right? They can deport you anytime. And I'm personally putting my own status at risk, or my own future visa applications at risk, by speaking publicly about this. But I do think that in some instances, we do have a moral obligation to say this is wrong, this is reckless, this is cruel, and it shouldn't stand.
Alright, muri eZimbabwe tasvika kumagumo echirongwa chedu chanhasi. Sithanda ukubonga umnumzana uAnesu Masakura. He joined us pano pachirongwa chedu chevechidiki. He was tackling on how this new immigration law is affecting the international students based in the United States of America. Nguva ndiyo yadyanana chinobhururuka chinomhara muri eZimbabwe isikhathi iso sesidliwe kumangoyi wanelokwanamhla olevalisayo nenjabulo. Let's meet same time same place pano pachirongwa chedu chevechidiki musi wechipiri oga muineni Mike Hove. Tsoka somuhle, Zimbabwe muhle, bye bye.